Well, hey authors, thanks so much for joining me. Today we are talking all about tips for using Instagram stories as an author, and I definitely wrote photographer there. That is what happens. We are hanging out talking about tips for authors, and we are going to be talking all about how to use Instagram stories as an author. And I've been getting a lot of questions lately on how to use Instagram stories. Now, a lot of you have followed my tutorials. I have those click-for-click tutorials for you, and you guys are starting to use Instagram stories, which is amazing because we know already that those social media algorithms value text posts the lowest with social media. I'm talking about Facebook here. And then photos, and then video, and then live video. And you have to be able to take advantage of using live video and using things like Instagram stories and using all of these different platform additions that they're giving you. And so when we speak specifically on Instagram, we know that photos are cool, but it is really easy for people to digest those photos. They can just keep scrolling through their feed without stopping to interact. Videos, on the other hand, are a little bit different within your feed because people have to stop and pause for about 3 seconds to decide if they want to watch your video or not. Now, here is the deal. Instagram has a really interesting algorithm that ranks things based on how valuable it seems to be within their system. And so your posts, your photos, your videos, the things that you're putting out there on Instagram are ranked based on how much engagement you get. We're talking how many likes, how many favorites, how many comments. We want to know how popular you are by how many people are interacting with you. And it's based on the number of followers that you have. So it is better to have 10 incredibly engaged people on your platform than to have 1,000 people who don't really interact with you. So if you've got 10 people and 10 people are meaningfully interacting with you and they're favoriting and they're commenting, that's going to get you ranked really, really high. But if you have 1,000 people and only 10 of those, that is a very small percentage, and you are not going to be seen as valuable as you are not going to be seen at. Oh gosh, wow! You are not going to be seen. Nope, I'm done. Moving on. You will not be as valuable to the ranking system if you, unfortunately, have a ton of fans and they aren't interacting with you. So your goal is to get them to interact here. And we know that with the Instagram algorithms, they are looking at Instagram stories as they are doing it. Now, Instagram stories is that real estate up at the top of Instagram, the little rainbow circles where you can click on it and watch little video clips or photos strung into a story. It's kind of a Snapchat ripoff, and they are doing it in a totally unique way to Instagram. And it's really very effective for us as authors. And the cool thing and not cool thing, it's kind of this catch-22 here, is that not a lot of authors are using it. They don't know how, they don't understand, they're afraid of the technology, or they don't like being in front of people in that way on video and on photos. And so a lot of authors are not using this, which means those of us that are getting super good engagement. And if you're using it effectively, people are coming back time and time again. I can tell you right now that with my Instagram stories over on my author page, I have really high, really good engagement, because the people see my posts, know they're good, know they're valuable, know it's going to be worth engaging with and spending their time on. And those people show up every single time. Now, my personal engagement over on Instagram is off the charts. I am sitting around 500 to 700% engagement, while most authors are around 60%. So if that gives you any ideas there, engagement is really, really important, and getting that engagement is going to help you out. So let me jump in and answer a few questions that I've been recently getting about Instagram stories. And the first one is, how many clips should I be using? Now, we know with Instagram stories, you can have video and you can have photos, and you string those together into a story where you are telling the story of what's going on that day. You should be doing educational things. You should be doing things that give them insight into your world as a writer or your book world or your characters. You should not be posting things like photos of your kitty if there's no reason for it. Now, once in a while, if you post like one, that's fine. But if it's constantly your Starbucks latte, your kitty, your drive to work, like, that doesn't hold a lot of meaning. So if you want very clear, very effective Instagram stories, I've got a ton of tutorials over on Reading Transforms. Make sure you check those out. I'm not going to drop that info today, but check it out over on Reading Transforms, especially on resources.readingtransforms.com and over on our YouTube channel. But how many of these clips should we be using within our Instagram stories to tell a story? And I'm going to say about 3 to 10 is probably good, because at that point, people are going to start getting bored after 10. They've got things to do. Instagram stories is supposed to be short, quick, sweet, and to the point. So I would not go over 10 unless you have something incredibly valuable for them and they are prepared and ready for that. So it should stay under maybe like 2 or 3 minutes as you are going through things and you're doing things on your Instagram stories. You do not want to go any longer than that because that gets overwhelming and they will start to scroll away. Now, if you are creating a series of videos or a series of images and people scroll away, the algorithm takes note of that. So make sure you're creating really good, engaging content for them. So I would say about 3 to 10. I wouldn't necessarily stay with lower numbers. If you have something you want to share, sure, go ahead. But if it's just like one thing, maybe use it in your feed. If it's good enough, if it's quality enough, if it's curated and it fits with your feed, go for it. But otherwise, add a little more. I would say no less than 3 and no more than 10, unless there's some kind of extreme circumstance. Should I use both video and photos? Yes. The answer to this is absolutely yes. Video is going to be good because Instagram stories is very strongly tied to video. People are expecting video, so I highly recommend using that within your Instagram story. But do not limit yourself to just video. You can absolutely post photos. You can absolutely post a series of photos if you're telling a story. But I highly recommend using a mixture of both video and photos to represent your stories because it really gives a very unique look at whatever you're doing. Whether you're educating, or you're showing off something, or you're introducing them to something, or you're announcing something, using that series to break up what you're doing is really good. And pro tip here, if you are doing video, make sure that it is either not in the same location for all of your videos, so you're changing angles or you're changing locations, or you're decorating your screen differently to, really show where those different clips are and break it up so that it's not just like some weird editing thing in a video where you messed up a word and you clipped it out. Look a little more professional on that by changing it up. Which actually leads us into our next point. How do I decorate it? Sorry about that. I've been outside all day and I'm losing my voice because of all the pollen and stuff. How do I decorate it? Well, that is actually really good. Let me pull this up. Wow. Lots of people are trying to talk to me on social media here. Let me pull this up. And we're going to take a look at how to decorate this. So let me just snap that there. I just snapped a photo. I do apologize for the rainbow glare. What you're going to be doing is taking a look at the buttons up top here. You've got the text, you've got drawing, and you've got stickers. So the little square smiley face thing, that's going to pop up a bunch of stickers. The writing button here is going to give you colors down on the bottom. And over on this side is a little slider to change your pen size. Wow, that was really hard. Sorry, guys. Change your pen size over here. And you can do marker, pen, neon. You can do an eraser tool, or you can do a rainbow font, so you can decorate and color that way. And then you also have the ability to do text, which I do have video tutorials on how to do all of this over on Reading Transforms, so make sure you check that out. But as you are decorating it, you want to make sure it looks very high-end, very curated, and in alignment with your brand. So if you have colors that you as an author use, those are great colors to really pull into your Instagram stories and consistently use those throughout your Instagram stories. If you have a specific look to your Instagram feed, it's very, very wise for you to draw that into what you are doing with your decorations. Do not overwhelm it. Don't go crazy. You don't want to be drawing all over your images or your videos because that will take away from your message. You want to make sure the focus is where the focus needs to be, but definitely use it to make it a little more high-end. So if I am recording a video of myself right here, this could be a little bit boring and just kind of look like I'm recording something on my phone. But if I put words on the side, if I have a strip running up and down with the title of what I'm talking about, if I've got a couple of drawings, if I've got some arrows, if I've got some fun words talking about what I'm talking about, that is going to be incredibly valuable and beneficial to me and make me look far more high-end. So just experiment. And I do recommend, if you need some ideas on that, you can follow me on Reading Transforms. You can follow me at k.m. Robinson Books and follow me at k.m. Robinson Photography because I do Instagram stories all of the time. And I'm always playing with how things look. So you can kind of get some cool ideas from that. Is it good to use screen grabs? Well, this is an interesting question because the answer for the most part is going to be probably not so much because you have to be careful with copyrighted content. Now, I will say that a lot of people, and I've noticed a lot of book bloggers especially, like to screen grab their friends' pictures and they like to put those on their Instagram stories and then tag their friends. And that's fine if you're doing some shout outs, but you don't want to go crazy with that. The big thing that I see with this is that people are putting 20, 30 people within their Instagram stories, and no one goes through all of that. That's just crazy. So if you are going to do it, go ahead and take your screen grab. Pro tip here, if you hold your finger in the center of the screen, it will pause whatever video you are on within someone else's stories, whatever photo. And if you hold it long enough, it will actually take their name off of the top. Now, if you do not take their name off of the top, your name will get superimposed over their name, and you won't be able to read either one. So hold it down, take their name off of the top, and then @mention them back into that image. So if you are typing in text, you would put @ and their screen name, and then it would hyperlink it so people can click on it and scroll over to their page. So if you are going to do screen grabs, keep it as clean as possible. You don't want to go really crazy. And I have seen a lot of times that people will screen grab pictures that other people have screen grabbed and posted and put words on, and then they will put words over top of it, and it just looks like this crazy, messy disaster of an image, and it's really hard to understand where you're supposed to be looking or what you're supposed to be reading, what the person who is posting it has written, and what the previous people have written. So be very, very careful when you are using screen grabs, and don't use copyrighted materials. So if it's not yours, technically it's not yours, and you could get in big trouble for that. So make sure you have permission first. And if anybody asks you to take something down because of copyright infringement, you do it immediately. Immediately. Trust me. Trust me. Why do I keep getting screenshots in my DM inbox? So in your direct message inbox on Instagram, if you are tagged in someone else's story, that will send that screen grab to you. You can then pull that up and see that little clip or that little photo. And if you want to go support them, you can go over to their page, click on their story, and then it will register that you have gone through their story and read it, and that will rank them higher, which means it'll show it to more people. Win, 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 right? So if somebody's mentioning you and your books and whatever it is that you're doing, they're giving you a shout out. That just means that they have tagged you in their Instagram story and that their fans can then click on over to your page and check you out. So if you are seeing those in your inboxes, that's not a bad thing. Okay, you like that. Now, I will say, on occasion, it can be a little temperamental because when you are using Instagram stories and you are going to post things, if you accidentally click on someone else's name too, it sometimes sends it to more than one person. And I know I personally have bumped things and accidentally sent it as a personal direct message to someone when I was trying to post it to my stories. And it made it to my stories, but it also made it to this person because I accidentally tapped it. So if it does not make sense to you as to why it's in your inbox, it was probably just an accident because it can be a little easy to do that. Okay, Instagram stories. Oh, that's a note for me. That's not a question. It is important to remember that Instagram stories is ranked within this algorithm. You have to be aware that this is going to bump up your rating. So when the algorithm system is ranking how you are doing within Instagram, it is registering how much engagement you have, how many favorites, how many comments, how many people are interacting with your posts, but it's also ranking your Instagram lives. It's ranking your Instagram stories. And when they are ranking your Instagram stories, they are looking at things like who has watched this? How quickly did they watch this? Did they watch through all of your clips? Did they watch with the sound on or off? And all of these things matter within the ranking because when they are ranking it, that determines how often, how much, and to whom your content will be shown to. So if you have a high ranking, you are going to sit higher in the news feed than someone who has a low ranking. So let's just assume that I have less fans than some of the big authors, and reality check here, I do. The fact is that I have less fans, but I have droves of people coming to like my images because they're finding me within the hashtag feeds, and they are loving what I am posting. They are commenting, they're interacting, they are favoriting, and I have a super high engagement rate. And that means when people log on to Instagram, they are going to see me toward the top of their feed every single time I am putting out good content. However, people who have more fans, but people who are following them just to follow them and not interacting with them, that's going to drive down their ranking. So when people jump onto Instagram, it is very possible and even likely that my posts as a smaller account that has high engagement will be shown before the pictures and videos that famous people are posting who are not getting a ton of interaction percentage-wise. Because I have a higher percentage, I remember 500 to 700% engagement. That means of all the people that I have following me, all of those people or the same number of people are interacting with me, and then 500 to 700 times more than that. But a lot of these big names, these famous people, have people following them simply because they're famous, and they don't really take the time to interact with them. And they don't necessarily always post the most engaging things, so sometimes their ranking is going to be lower, which means my content will be shown more often, higher, and earlier than someone who is more famous who does not get as high an interaction rate as I do. So it is very important that you are using Instagram stories because that is calculated into your ranking. When people are following your Instagram stories, when they are watching you, when they're sending you direct messages because of them, when they are listening to them, when they turn the sound on, when they frequently look at your Instagram stories, that's going to help your case, baby. So you want to make sure you're taking the time and making the effort to use Instagram stories within your author platform. So do you have questions for me? I know we've got a lot of questions about an Instagram story. If you have not seen the tutorials yet on how to do this, or the examples and the resources and the articles and the videos I've created on how to use these really, really effectively in your author brand, check those out, baby. You need to make sure you're looking at those. But if you have more questions, hit me up in the comments below, because I am going to be doing more broadcasts just like this one to answer more of these questions for you. And I want to know what you're struggling with, or what you're questioning, or what you're not sure about and you want a little clarification on. So go ahead, hit me up and let me know what is up. I'm K.m. Robinson, social media strategist here at Reading Transforms, and over on K.m. Robinson Photography, where I'm hanging out with my author people and educating them on how to grow their photography businesses. I said that wrong. Yeah, my photography people. It's been a very long day, guys. A very long day. P.S. Thank you guys for sticking with me over the last week or so. I did have my book launch yesterday, and we also had a huge family emergency. So I know I haven't been here at our usually scheduled times the last couple of days, and I do appreciate you sticking with me through that. So much love to you. But if you enjoy hanging out with me, if you've got questions, let me know in the comments below, and you can come hang out with me over at readingtransforms.com, which you will have access to our online courses, our online communities, our resources, tutorials, articles, videos, live masterclass webinars, free on-demand mini trainings, the amazing resources, articles, and projects that we're working on, because I know I just repeated that. All of the projects we're working on over at Reading Transforms. And you can also join me at community.readingtransforms.com, which will take you over to our closed Facebook group, where I'm in there all the time teaching on the social media algorithms. Go figure. And we teach you how to market your books better, brand your author brand, and really engage, empower, and equip your fans to go out there and market on your behalf without ever sounding like a commercial. You can also hit me up on social media at Reading Transforms and let me know what you were thinking, what you're struggling with, what you're succeeding with, and what you want a little more info on. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Stay inspired.